Hello everyone, welcome to today's class, and our title today is Text or Call. Let's move on to language focus. 1번. People now communicate much more via social media and messaging apps, and the days of spontaneous phone calls are largely over. Okay, largely is the word we're going to look at today. So use largely to express that something is true in many or most cases, but not 100%. So largely, 대체로, 주로, 100%는 아닌. Very simple. Very, very simple. Let's look at our examples today. I think we're going to have a quick lesson today. Americans largely prefer to travel by automobile rather than taking buses or trains. 미국인들은 주로 버스나 기차보다 자동차로 여행하는 것을 선호합니다. I guess that's maybe with a lot of large countries. I think a lot of large countries prefer to take cars rather than trains or buses. People have largely stopped using landlines for their telephones. 사람들은 대체로 유선 전화 사용을 중단했습니다. Yeah, I think the only ones that use landlines anymore are businesses rather than individuals or people. Everyone uses their cell phone, right? Or their handphone or whatever you want to call it these days. Yes. Anyway, let's move on to 2번 now. Okay, 2번. It's also a fair question whether the same rule applies to family and close friends. A fair question whether. So, use it's a fair question whether to express that something is open to debate or does not have an absolute answer. Unlike it's questionable, it's fair question whether does not imply strong doubt. It simply means that the answer is known for sure. Let me explain. Okay. So, it's a fair question whether 논의의 여지가 있는 완벽한 답이 없을 때 쓰는 표현이다. It's questionable 이랑 다르게 강한 의심을 의미하는 표현이 아니다. So, if we look at our example, it's a fair question whether the benefits of AI will outweigh the risks. So, AI의 강점이 위험보다 더 클지는 논의의 여지가 있습니다. Let's hope AI will not take away too many jobs, because otherwise I won't have a job. It's a fair question whether university education is the best way to prepare for a career. So, 대학 교육이 사회생활 준비를 위한 최고의 방법인지는 논의의 여지가 있습니다. Yeah, I agree to this day. I don't think you need a university education to really prepare for the real world. I think, you could probably do it without one. All right, now let's look at the language focus quiz. 1번. People in my city largely support. Okay, so let's go back up to largely. Largely to express that something is true in most cases, but not 100%. largely 대체로, 주로 100%는 아닌. So my people largely support the conservative political party. How crazy was that Trump situation? This is happening a day after the Donald Trump assassination attempt. So that was insane. Like, I don't like the guy, but yeah, that was pretty scary to watch. So 제가 사는 도시의 주민들은 대체로 보수당을 지지합니다. Young people largely prefer to let's say spend their money than to save it. So, 젊은 사람들은 주로 돈을 저축하기보다는 쓰는 곳을 더 선호합니다. That's why you will see a low birth rate, I think, because people can't afford it, because people are spending money. Okay, 3번. It's a fair question that whether will ever Okay, it's a fair question. So it's a fair question whether 너네 여지가 있는 완벽한 답이 없을 때 쓰는 표현이다. So it's a fair question whether the world will ever have another world war. 세계가 또다시 세계대전을 겪을지는 너네 여지가 있습니다. Yeah, scary world. It's a fair question whether is the best way to protesting is the best way to make a statement. 시위가 주장을 전달하는 가장 좋은 방법인지는 너네 여지가 있습니다. Sometimes protesting is useful, sometimes it's not. Alright, now let's look at the further discussion. 1번. How important are punctuation and grammar in text messages? 문제 메시지에서 문장 기호와 문법은 얼마나 중요한가요? I think just punctuation and grammar in general is very, very important when it comes to writing, at least. So let's have a look here. For example, let's eat grammar versus let's eat grandma. I can't spell grandma today. What's the difference? What's the difference between these two sentences? All right? Why would grammar be very important? This means we want to eat grandma. 할머니 먹고 싶습니다. And this is let's have something to eat with grandma. 할머니랑 같이 먹는 거. 뭐 먹을 거. So there's a difference. Grammar is very important. So yes, I do think it's important in any situation where you're writing to have punctuation and as well as, relatively good grammar. Speaking, if you're learning how to speak English, listen, the biggest tip I can give you is grammar is important, of course. It's a way to communicate. But the biggest tip I can give you is communication is the biggest, is the most important thing. You don't have to be perfect at grammar. You can make a little mistake here and there. But the communication is the most important thing. 2번, how would you feel if somebody came over to your house for a visit without contacting you first? 누군가가 당신한테 먼저 연락 없이 집에 방문하면 기분이 어떨까요? Horrible. I don't even like planning things on the day. Like, I've got plenty of friends who are like, hey, what are you doing today? And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do anything. My personality is, I when it comes to like meeting friends or some sort of appointment or 약속 or whatever, I usually like to plan ahead. Like, I'm a person who plans my day and like somehow manages to allocate my energy to that part of the day, and I need this much energy for this part and I need this much energy for this part. If something interrupts that, I get really frustrated. I'm very strange like that. Anyway, that wraps it up for today, and I'll see you on the next class.
Via.
Via.
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous.
Anxiety.
Anxiety.
Out of the blue.
Out of the blue.
Relief.
relief,
Cast in stone.
cast in stone,